podcast. So now we can have people join us.
Okay.
Super fun. Happy Magnificent Monday.
No kidding.
Right? I'm actually at my family's cabin in Big Bear.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, we decided to bring the kids up and have a long weekend up here. We went out on the boat all weekend, hence the redness in my face.
Yeah. Super fun. Yeah, I went to the cabin with my girlfriends last week, and that was a fun getaway.
Yeah.
That was up to Duck Creek.
Nice.
Yeah.
I actually haven't been there. I have so many friends that have gone, but
it's really nice up there. I actually took Kevin last year for the first time and took him to Bryce and Zion, and
nice.
Yeah, Bryce is one of my favorites. So pretty.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So as we get started here, how long has it been since you retired?
It's almost a full year. Yeah, it's a full year.
Really?
Wow. Come July, technically. Yeah. It's crazy. Awesome. Yeah, it's a totally different pace and different adjustment of coming up with a new normal and a schedule and a routine. But I think I finally have figured that out.
Yeah.
It's a while.
Totally new normals.
Well, this actually helped me because it kind of forces you to think about your day and your schedule and how you're going to run it. And I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that's totally how things are evolving for everyone. So anything exciting you were able to do this weekend?
This weekend, no, actually. I actually just rested and relaxed, and on my weekends I try not to work. I don't always succeed at that, but I try to actually take time. And Kevin made pizzas in the pizza oven, so that was super fun.
Nice.
Yeah, that was super fun. And they turned out I tried a new dough recipe that was delicious.
Yeah
It was so good. It was a recipe that uses beer instead of water.
Really?
And the crust was delicious.
Sounds
it was just a lot fluffier.
Very cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, I'm not very good at baking anything. I'm more of a take it out of the box and then see if it actually works.
I usually am too. So don't get me wrong. I totally cheat. I use the bread mixer. I just put the ingredients in and push the button pretty much. And Kevin does all the hard work of the kneading of the dough and making it into a pizza. But so I'm not going to take that much credit other than Googling the recipe and putting the ingredients in. But I don't really feel like that's true cooking. But
right. Yeah. No, I feel the same.
Yeah.
So we've got a few people joining us, and we'll get started here with introducing you. And I don't know if you've had a chance. I can't believe it's been this is week 15 that we've been doing these Magnificent Monday calls. We started them. What day did we start them? We started them March 23rd. So a week after ish, about 10 days after the last day of school.
Yeah.
And it's been such a blessing to connect with this community in such a meaningful way, and to be developing this program has been really cool. So
absolutely offering some children some good choices.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm bringing my business partner Melissa on with us.
Hi, Melissa. How are you?
Good to see you, Katie.
Good to see you. How's Callie treating you?
Very good, thank you.
Awesome.
I live on the beach. I can't complain.
Now, where are you exactly in California?
I'm in San Clemente.
Oh, okay. That's nice. Really, really nice. I grew up in San Diego, so those are my old stomping grounds. But
nice.
It's heaven.
Nice.
Awesome.
So happy Magnificent Monday officially, everyone. It is 10 a.m. Pacific time, so we are going to go ahead and kick off and get started. We have special guest Katie Decker with us today. I'm super excited. She and I met, how many years ago now? 10 years
Oh my
ago?
gosh, it's been a long time.
Give or take. Hit it off immediately just with our passion and purpose for making a difference in education. So super grateful to have her join us today, talking about what life is like as an edupreneur, both inside and outside the system. So we're gonna dive into that topic. But first, like we do with everything, I want everyone to go ahead and chime into the chat box, or go ahead and raise your hand, and I'll bring you on to video, and you can share. What are you grateful for from this weekend? What was something amazing that you did this weekend that you are grateful for? So, Katie, do you want to start? What are you grateful for from this weekend?
I am grateful for my health and being able to have beautiful morning walks. And I actually took pictures of the sunrise on Saturday. It was beautiful.
Oh, nice. I love that. When Melissa and I were in Sedona last weekend, the sunrises were just absolutely incredible. So, good morning, Tammy. Yes. So, Tammy, do you want to go next? What are you grateful for from this weekend?
We had exciting news. So we actually, I'm hoping everything goes well, but we booked our flight to go to Los Angeles. We're going to be recording a documentary for enlightened educators in regard to the movie The Secret. So it's moving beyond The Secret. It's called The Awakening. So we're going to be part of that documentary series. So we booked our flight. So I'm fingers crossed. When Melissa said she's in California, I'm like, oh, I'm going to be coming your way in August. So hopefully everything's good to go.
That's fantastic.
That's what I'm grateful for. Super exciting.
Oh, that's awesome, Tammy. Awesome. And Cindy, I love yours in the chat. Grateful for making time this weekend to play, painting and trying to make bread. Katie and I were just talking about that a few minutes ago, that she was making bread. And I'm more out of the box kind of girl when it comes to all type of cooking. I'm learning. Melissa's teaching me. I'm learning. I'm getting there. So, Teresa and Evelyn, you want to join us on video and let us know what you're grateful for? And while they do that, Mel, you want to share yours?
I'm grateful that I'm getting acclimated in my new house, and I have great friends out here that just love and support me. And I had a cry fest last week, pretty hard. It's like I was just giving birth and just leaving everything that I built in Vegas. And I just want somebody to hold me. And so I'm grateful that I had friends out here that just came and just supported me and just loved me through the process. So super grateful for my friends and family.
Love it. Beautiful. Anyone else want to type in the chat box? And Teresa, go ahead.
Oh.
You're on mute, Teresa. Here, Teresa, I've got to unmute you. Oh, try again.
Morning, everyone.
Morning, Evelyn.
Morning.
Hello.
Teresa, you're still on mute.
Oh yeah. I'm grateful for this week because we were able to have fun and clean with my friends again, Filipino friends. We had a free, what do you call that? CCST teachers are free at Venetian.
Oh, nice.
So we grabbed the opportunity.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's fun.
It's
Teresa,
my first time to go out.
Oh, good. Oh, you got it, Teresa. Thanks so much, Evelyn.
All, I would like to say, Melissa, I grew up in California. I was in Southern California all my life. Actually, I started out in Compton and then we kind of went from there. But I grew up going by train down to San Clemente where the train stops, and then getting off and going over to my older cousins' places and then going down and surfing. So I miss it, but it's better that I live someplace where I can afford it. So, you know, until that comes back around, I gotta wait. But lots of fun, lots of happy memories. I hope you have a lot of those that are gonna come your way too.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Teresa.
Some of the things that I was grateful for this week is last week I started journaling, and it kept me up. One night I couldn't sleep. So I journaled, and then I worked the rest of the night. So it was 5 a.m. in the morning when I stopped. But one of the things that kind of came to mind is how nice it is to be writing again, because I used to do that for so long, every single day. And so now it's getting back to that. Because here in CCSD, we're trying to figure out how we're going to open the schools. And so there's all these different ideas that are floating around and things that are being decided by the school board. And I really, you know, and most of the time I'd probably say, you know, I don't like what they're doing. I don't like this. I don't like that. I kind of, through the journaling and the being up one night, it came to how I'm going to put this whole thing together to teach video production from either face-to-face a couple of days or from home online. And with my favorite entertainer, Jimmy Buffett, in the background, there was just a lot of things that started coming together. So I'm excited about it because I think with face-to-face, those are going to be my lab days. Those are the days that my kids will come into class and they're going to do camera stuff. On the other days, they're going to prepare for the camera stuff. And we're going to be online. And like I said, I already have my outline for the introduction, which is my first, I guess it would be the first unit. So unit 1, I have kind of like, I'm just putting stuff together. I already think that I'm going to have some friends because there's a song that Talking Heads did that's called Once in a Lifetime. And I'm going to change some of those words just to do the introduction of what video production is going to be about. And I'm going to enlist some friends of mine that are out in Perea, Utah, where the fire was just at, and have them do the background singing for that and then turn it into a video for the kids.
Oh,
and,
Teresa, that's so fun. I'm so excited.
You know, it's just coming up with all of these different things. And so before I came on, I was already going through a list of song titles so that I could write those down and use them as my my units as we start. I have the introduction, but then I want the kids to do a video. So I want them, their title of their assignment is Who's That Stranger?
Oh, I love it.
And so,
Teresa,
you know,
I'm so excited. I'm so excited for everything that you're putting together. You're taking this initiative. You're actually working as an edupreneur, like putting that hat on and going, you know what? I'm going to take responsibility for what I can control, and I'm going to make a difference for these kids regardless of the logistics of the environment. So that is a great segue for us to kind of jump into our topic today, which is kind of talking about what it is to be an edupreneur. And so that was a perfect example. And I know that you have so much more to share. So as we kind of go along, feel free to chime in and let us know more of those juicy details that you have of things that you're putting together, because I think it's brilliant. And I love all of those pieces that are coming out of you, even if it's middle of the night. Sometimes that's when inspiration strikes, right? And so we just roll with it. I would love to kind of formally introduce Katie, and I'll let her share a little bit more about her background. But she and I met, we were introduced as I started learning about the system of education. Most of you know I was working for Delivering Happiness, which is Tony Hsieh, the CEO of Zappos, his other company based on his best-selling book called Delivering Happiness. And I was volunteering in schools to help teach them how to use happiness as a business model as we were teaching corporations. And this was back in 2010, 11, 12, 13 timeframe. And during that time when I was volunteering, I met Katie, and I was just trying to learn the system of education, and I was trying to learn the differences between, you know, the corporate world and crazy education and trying to kind of fit what fit from what we were teaching companies and how we could actually transform our schools to be great places to work as well. And so really learning from a lot of the things that Katie had already started implementing through her edupreneur mindset. And I don't know, Katie, if you've ever actually called yourself that, but when you look at the actions that she took and the behaviors and who she embodied and who she showed up as a leader to really make a difference, not only for her students, but for her staff and for her entire community, has always been inspiring to me. And she has led with this deep-rooted passion and purpose, knowing that there was a better way. And I always used to love when she would say, you know, I just beg forgiveness. I'm going to go and do what I know is right, and I'm going to beg forgiveness if I unintentionally, you know, hurt someone's feelings in some way. That was putting it nicely. So, without that, I would love, Katie, for you to kind of just give us just a brief little background of your time in education. You retired last year from the district and now what your new adventure is. And then we have a few questions for you about your new world.
Okay, so I worked in the Clark County School District for 30 years, and I think I spent 7 of those years as a teacher, and I taught everything from first to second to third to the RIP teacher, which sounds terrible, to all the way to a computer teacher for the school before going into administration. And I worked under 2 different leaders in administration as well. And I worked at Hallie Hewitson, which was a high at-risk school. And as a teacher, I thought I was amazing, because I was. But when I became an assistant principal at a non-at-risk school, that's where I truly saw the disparity and the difference between expectation and reality. And we did not have high enough expectations for our students. And I feel if I would have gone from that experience back into the classroom, I would have raised those expectations exponentially, because the kids were capable. It was the adults that were holding them back. So that's kind of what drove me into passion with my leadership in at-risk schools. And I am extremely passionate about making sure that the right leaders are in those schools, not people that are just wanting a promotion or a job. One of my professors at UNLV said, if you're trying to become a principal because you want to wear the title, choose something else, because it's not about the title. It's not about that. It's about really, truly having that vision for change and making a difference. So when I got Bracken, I went into it with this belief that it could be different. It could be different for my kids. It could be different for the community. It could be different. And set about building that vision and the clarity of vision. And I didn't do it by myself. I did it with the community. I did it with leaders. I did it with a million partners, and nothing can I say I did other than bringing people to the table that had a voice with passion, that had a lens that we needed to add, so that we were making sure that we were giving our kids the best of everything. And that is something, I guess nothing's ever good enough. We just constantly were improving, redoing, trying to be better every single year. We added so many new programs on a yearly basis, but it wasn't me adding them. It was the community, my staff, all of us. And we just kept building up to this momentum that was just phenomenal. So Bracken went from the lowest performing school to the top of the district, National Blue Ribbon. We won every award that you can win as a school, which is ironic that our district would never truly acknowledge that, but we did. We won national title, distinguished 3 years in a row. The Blue Ribbon, we were highlighted by Edutopia. We accomplished a lot. But every time we shared, every time, it was more about sharing the message of what we were doing and how we were doing it. That was important to my staff and myself, so that others could learn from us as well. Because like I said, the at-risk schools sometimes are in this bubble and they don't even realize the potential sitting right in front of them. And if you look at the kids and see their family or their journey or where they are right now, and you use that as a stopping point or as a limit, then they will be limited. They will stop. But if you inspire, if you encourage, if you create Disneyland, if you make school the most awesome place in the whole world, then they will come with passion. They will work. They will read books. They will know their math facts. They will get better. And it's about marketing and selling those ideas to kids that you know are good for them. And I always told my staff, teaching is marketing and sales. If you're not selling it, they're not buying it. And so you've got to get it through to them. And then the other thing, I'm so grateful. My college was a college where our education department was actually in the theater department, because we are acting. You sell it. If you don't like science, you sell it. You like science. You don't like math, like it. Learn to like it. Never tell your kids you don't like something. Always, it's the best. And we're going to do something really fun. And my staff used to joke at me because I'd always say, hey, I got a project. They're like, oh, shoot, that means work. but it's that passion, I think. And so after running Bracken successfully, I took an education course at the Public Education Foundation, and it was transformational for me. It was the education leadership course where we had a lot of guest speakers, and even my empowerment training that I got with Mike Strambinski was extremely powerful and valuable. And so I think my mindset shifted quite a bit. And Rick Hess was yelling at me because I was saying, my school's not like that. And he said, well, good job, Katie. You fixed one school. Well, how does that help the rest? I'm like, darn you. All right, give me another and I'll flip it. And so that became my mantra for a while with Mike Barton and Pat, and I harassed them until they gave me a second school that I could franchise. And I leveraged the power of Bracken staff in order to model and teach that staff. And then a year later, I took on another school. So I ran 3 schools prior to retiring. I had a succession plan for leadership for my school. And I'm sure you recognize the name Bracken because it's been in the news. It completely fell apart in 1 year after I left. And so now my mindset is shifting again to thinking, okay, how do I have an impact in education that's lasting? Well, I do believe my staff has taken what they learned at Bracken and it's being sprinkled all over the valley. I still am sad for the community I left behind, knowing that new superintendent with no knowledge of our school, our culture, our climate, never even setting foot there, choosing a leader that I hadn't trained. And I had someone trained and I had a succession plan. And so now I'm thinking, how do I get districts to start looking at succession plans? What is wrong with them? A school culture and a climate is unique. And when you bring in a new leader, it's like hitting the reset button, but not just for the teachers and not just for it's for the kids. It's a reset on them, on who they've come to depend upon, on who they've come to see as a role model or an example. So that to me is unfair and absolutely ridiculous. And so how do we get the leaders to see that it is about building culture, building community, and yes, painting the walls, not making them white again, for God's sakes. Who wants to learn in a white walled room? I mean, my house, I don't have white walls. Like, that's ridiculous. They're not, they're normal, but they're not white. But it's decorated for sure, tastefully so. So it's just sad to me because I thought I had this plan and everybody's like, when you leave, and I thought, if I did my job, they won't miss me when I leave. And I tried to do my job, but I didn't consider the factor of outside resources impacting in such a strongly negative way. And that has been a hard challenge for me this whole year in dealing with that loss. It's like a grief. But now I'm feeling stronger than ever about really making sure that I'm putting my time and energy into things that will sustain and things that will be there for kids for years to come. So that's kind of been my passion and my mission right now. And I got super lucky. A local company, I learned with Socrates. Their company name is Education Revolution, and perfect for me. They had me at the name, and I'm actually developing videos, instructional videos in mathematics and language arts and health and science and all kinds of things for kids so they can learn independently online. And that when they go home and we say, you know, parents help them with their homework. That's nice to say, but parents don't always understand the homework. So how can I make this digestible and easy and simple with pictures and videos for kids to be able to learn independently and really be empowered to move through the curriculum at a pace that they're ready for, and not being held back by the classroom. So our platform is called Socrates, and I'm an educational consultant for the company, but I build the videos, I help build content. And I also do training down in Mexico, which I'm extremely passionate about. The schools there, teachers get appointed by governments. They're not necessarily part of a training program. I was actually able to meet with all the secretaries of education of Baja California and have a discussion with them about Socrates and providing that curriculum to kids. And during COVID, the schools in Mexico used our platform way more than the schools here in the US, even though we had some high usage. The kids depended on it and used it. And I even had kids chatting with me, asking me questions. And I loved that, that they found the chat. I'm like, good for you. You found the chat and you figured out how to ask a question. I'll answer. I'll spend all day with you.
That's fantastic.
So,
Oh, Katie, I'm
yeah,
so excited that you are our first Edupreneur Spotlight guest. We're going to do more of these in the coming weeks. So inspiring for you to never give up on your passion and your purpose to make a difference for kiddos all over the world, and to really go into that global mindset as you've grown as an educator and as an edupreneur. So I want to touch back on the challenges as you were talking about. So when you think about educators in the current system, the current educational system globally, because educators face similar challenges across the globe. So what challenges would you say are they facing when it comes to innovation and entrepreneurship within the current system?
I think it's a lack of leaders, and leaders that are willing to trust the people that you hire. And if you hire well, then you need to trust them. And that's a scary position to take sometimes. And sometimes they have crazy ideas, but you know what? If it doesn't work, they take responsibility for it and they fix it. And the thing is, if I solve every problem for the staff, then they never learn to solve it for themselves. Am I right there with them? Do I teach with them? Do I practice with them? Do I see what they're doing and look for results that are positive, and also look for critical things that need maybe fixing? That's your job as a leader. But you got to empower people to do what they're passionate about, because look how passionate Teresa was in describing her curriculum. I know that it's going to be awesome. If I were her principal, I wouldn't have to sit there and, may I see your format and how you've written out your lesson plans? And is that really, did you have your goal at 90%, or, you know, some stupid thing like that? No, I'm going to tell her, you rock. Good job. How can I help you? And what equipment do you need? And what support do you need from me? That's the job of a leader. And unfortunately, they've become these checklisty, writing these big, stupid, like an IRS audit of a evaluation. It's
Right.
Absolutely ridiculous. Like, you can do a short form for a few years. And we did that for a while. And that's when Bracken had the highest results. When we start making educators worry about the nitpicky stuff, we are missing the boat. I want them focused on the kids and passion and excitement, not the nitpicky little pieces of paper or form that they filled out correctly. That's just a waste of time.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. Ward, did you have something you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. Leaders get in the way all too often, and I've seen that. I come from the corporate world, and I've also, this is my 12th, 13th year in education. All too often, you get these leaders who are micromanagers, who get in the way of development. I've had some really great managers, and I've had some really great principals who they get out of the way. They let their employees teach and work. It was always my corporate philosophy is that I want to empower my staff to take over my job. I want them to be better than me, and then you get out of the way.
Yeah. Oh, and you still maintain high expectations, and that's just it. I think my expectations of myself are so high that my boss would never need to tell me a thing to do, because I'm already putting the pressure on myself to do the very best that I can. And my staff knows that. They see that in my work. They know I'm there before they are. They know I'm working hard, just right alongside with them, and I'm there to support them. And I think that's through leadership. When you are working hard and you still have a high bar. It's not just go do what you want. It's do what you think will get the best results. And let's do it together, and let's do it as a team. And why don't you share that? That's leadership. Seeing something in one room and sharing it with the staff so that others can hear about the excellence of that person. That is leadership. Pointing out the successes, that is leadership. Nitpicking, that is a boss. Nobody likes that. Nobody.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so when you think about edupreneurs within the current system of education, and you think about how they stand out, how would you define them?
I think they're the ones that are just like Teresa. She's passionate. She's excited. They tell you, hey, I thought of this great idea this weekend. Or, hey, I went to this place and I thought we could do this. They're constantly selling you on new ideas. I just ask questions when they do that, you know. I had one principal, I coached her in Florida, and the staff told me every time we pitch something to her, she says no. And I told her, that's a bad word. You're not allowed to say it anymore. You're allowed to say how, when, how much. You can ask those kinds of questions, but you can't say no. You know, you can say, what do you think the result will be? But you can't just say no. That's so defeating to anybody. And so you get these creative people that have these great ideas and they're excited. They come in and they hit a brick wall. That is awful. So they should hit, I mean, again, still holding expectations. You still can ask all the questions, but they've already thought it through. They're going to have the answers to it. They're going to be able to tell you, you know, if it costs money or if they wrote a grant or what they're doing. And oftentimes I had staff tell me they wrote grants and I funded it anyway, even if they didn't get it, because they put time into a good idea. Let's make it happen. Let's do it.
Absolutely. I love that. So share another example of one of your teachers that really shined as an edupreneur within the current system.
Oh my gosh, I have
how
so
they did that.
many.
I know.
I mean,
It's like, I don't know how you're going to pick one, but.
They were all amazing. I mean, my best example was when we went empowerment and I showed the staff the data and they took ownership of the data of our school and comparing it to other magnet schools and other schools. And at the time we were pretty low. And, you know, I said, can we at least do better than these schools? And the staff, the 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade teachers got together and they came to me and they had signed up for Lucy Calkins on their own. They were going on the weekends. They were having morning meetings before school. And they killed it when it came to writing instruction. They did such a good job collaborating with each other, but they did it all on their own. I never asked them to. I just, you know, they'd sit there and say, oh, we had to get up early. What can I do to support you? Do you guys need donuts? What do you need? Like, how can I help you make this, you know? So it was their choice. It wasn't me saying, oh, we need to do a new writing program. They came, they analyzed the data and they decided. So I know that when, you know, Michelle Wheatfield, my assistant principal, just one of the most creative instructors, just brilliant. She really analyzes everything and thinks about it very thoughtfully before just jumping into something. Then you've got the other ones that like jump in and they've got a great idea and they want to try it. And then they're like, oops, how's that working out for you?
Right? All the different profile frequencies like we've talked about before and knowing everyone's natural brain-wired strength.
Yeah,
and
they're all
how you as a
different.
leader amplify that.
Yeah, exactly. And
Which is
some
the thing
people
that
you
you're
have
doing
to let them. Some people you have to let make a mistake. I had one teacher came up with a crazy idea to mess up rocket math. She really messed it up. It took her 2 weeks of messing it up till she came to me and said, oh, I get why we follow it that way now. Okay, well, good. Let's do it. Change the channel back.
Right. Well, and that patience as a leader,
Yes.
right? Allowing that entrepreneur spirit to thrive, understanding what that word means and that it does exist within the current system of education. Being an edupreneur does not mean that you have to go out and create a new thing and leave the current system.
No.
It means you can transform it from within as well.
Right, and if she would have gotten better results, then it would have been something we shared with everybody.
Right.
Sometimes you have to let them experiment and they have to come to the ideas on their own because we all know that educators are passionate. And so if we let them be passionate and we let them do what they do, and that's why they became educators. They love kids, they love teaching, they love learning. Not 100% of the people out there, we all know that, but the ones that have that sparkle in their eye when they're talking about their kids or their program, those are the educators that you gotta let them fly.
Yeah. So how do you tap back into that spirit when it's been crushed with an educator? What do you do?
That's the hard part because I watched my whole staff get crushed this year. I mean, literally crushed, tears, just crushed. And it's unfortunate because the leader that they got refused to collaborate or, you know, I was willing, I actually would have gone every day. And so I don't know, when they're crushed, all you can do is listen and support, and then hope they find a leader to work for that they are comfortable with and that fits their style, because some people like that style. Some people like a boss. They like to be told what to do. I was shocked at that. And in some of my schools, I was shocked at that mindset of some of the teachers. They didn't want to think it out. They want to do their job. They want to follow whatever curriculum they're told, and they want to go home at the end of the day and be good. Then you've got the passionate people that style doesn't fit them. So the only thing I can say is find the place where you can be happy. Like, I chose the job where I'm working right now, and if it wasn't what I liked, I would leave. I would go somewhere else or go and find the person to work with that really would support me in the way that I need to function in a workplace.
That's one of the things we talked about as well, is values alignment, and understanding your true core values and knowing that those are valuable. Those are valuable in the world. And you are not bad or wrong for having a visceral reaction when your values are violated. It is just a signal from your body saying, you need to look at this and you need to get curious with this and you need to decide if you just need to have a conscious conversation or you need to make a change.
Right.
And that is what edupreneurs start doing. Once you start to recognize that that's just a signal from your body, from the universe telling you, really get curious with this. You don't necessarily have to jump ship, but it's really about getting curious and going, why am I having this visceral reaction to this thing? You know, similar to the teacher you were talking about, not really jiving and wanting to make mistakes with the program and do it her own way. It was, she needed to feel that friction in order to get to the other side.
Right.
And as edupreneurs, you're doing that in every day. And so recognizing and starting to own that title and shift your mindset to go, you know what would my edupreneur side do in this place? If I really own that title of edupreneur, what would I do? How would I shift? And that begins to really, that's that self-enablement, right? That Dirk was talking about. Was that last week, weeks ago? Time is, I don't know what month it is anymore. It's still March in my brain. And I'm in Big Bear. We, went boating this weekend. I'm, a little bit still on vacation. So still here. So Katie, what would you say to edupreneurs within the current system that have ideas that maybe are feeling supported, but they're internally blocking themselves? Maybe they're not getting blocked from leadership. Maybe they're blocking themselves. What would you say to them?
Well, I would say that write out your plan, write out the pros and cons of it, and take a chance, and test the water. Try it on a smaller scale, try things out and see if it's successful, or bounce the idea off of some friends. That your peers are the best resource, and we don't collaborate enough in education. And really, I talked to other leaders all the time, listening to their way of solving a problem, and even talking to business people out in the community. You sometimes get great insight and ideas of ways that you can solve a problem. Every single problem that you have has a solution. It might not be one you like, but there is always a solution to everything. And it's finding the one that makes you happiest and gives you joy and lets you be your true self, especially in front of kids. Like I said, you have to be able to fake it. Even if you're not happy, you have to fake it, because those children, they didn't sign up for whatever gloom and doom you want to bring in for the day. They're ready for fun. What are we doing today? So you've got to bring it every single day. And so if you have to figure out how to bring it, you've got to sometimes change the channel and tune it out, or find a way to comply your own way.
Right. Right. Absolutely. So I want to open it up, and I want to give enough time for you guys to ask Katie questions as well. So either type them in the chat, and make sure your chat in the blue box above where you type says to all panelists and attendees, so that everyone can see your questions. So make sure it says that you're chatting to all panelists and attendees. But I want Teresa, sending you love. and sending you lots of love. And definitely the recording will be online and come out through our newsletter as well. So if you're not able to jump in. But anyone who wants to either type in their question or come on video and ask a question for Katie about either what it was like in the current system of education, as she spent 30 years there, really innovating and becoming an edupreneur, or even now that she's outside of the system and the things that she's doing as an edupreneur now. What questions do you guys have for her? Tammy, go ahead, Tammy.
First off, I want to say how amazing it was to listen to you, Katie. You are like the dream principal for me. Because I operate, my joy, my excitement to teach and be in the school is with passion, right? And I want everything to be fun and exciting every day for me. And if I'm not having fun, I know they're not going to have fun, because we feed off of each other. So thank you so much. And as a creator, I have found it very hard at times to find principles that really celebrate the creative soul that I have, right? Because I find they're more steel-based or more linear-based, and they are sticklers for those details that can really squash your spirit and excitement. But I've been blessed in the last couple of years to have the most incredible leadership, and they inspire me every day. So I want to say thank you. But when you don't, like, because again, we get shifted around, and I agree with you, alignment for me is key. And one thing I found being really helpful is I'm teaching prep right now, and it's almost like nobody cares about prep. So it literally gives me free reign to do my genius and to program without any interference. So that's how I've actually stayed and been able to grow all of my passion programs and really stay elevated and high in teaching and education, because I'm half time in school and I'm half time in the entrepreneur world, because I think my spirit would just be crushed in the system full time if I had to go under those restrictions. Yeah. So I guess I'm looking at, you know, how do you support teachers who are creative like myself? And do you find that typical? Because I don't find there's a lot of people who are the creators in the school system. I haven't seen that many of us.
I was really blessed. And even at all three of my schools, I found those people, and they can be contagious. And I know that a negative person on staff can be one of the biggest barriers, you know, to the whole mindset. But that's why I always had weekly staff meetings, and I feel like constantly communicating the vision and how things align with the vision, and letting people have a voice and a share opportunity, and just trying to figure out who the negative people are and front load them with strategies ahead of time, one-on-one. Sometimes helps bring them along before they get in front of the bigger group. So it's a lot of management of people and knowing their personalities, knowing who accepts change right away. Well, I don't need to go talk to them. But the people who I know are going to be like, oh my gosh, what's that? I'm going to go chat with them ahead of time, give them that processing time, and then we can go ahead and do it in the whole group. So it's kind of like knowing, I think when you're a principal, you're a counselor, you're an influencer for sure. And so you just kind of have to be aware of people, because how people feel is so important, just like it is for kids. And I think when I became a principal, I didn't stop being a teacher. So my students are my teachers. And, you know, I saw them as my students, and I used to tease them all the time and say, I know you're all trying to be my favorite, but I don't have any, because I love you all the same. And I always told them that, because, you know, you can't have favorites. And that's a big mistake a lot of principals do. They have these favorites and they always let them have all the opportunities and they do all the things. And you have to provide that balance between everybody, and try to, even the negative person, you got to look at them and say, I got to find something about you, because it's the same thing with a naughty kid in your classroom. You just got to try And I would say that's probably the biggest challenge for leaders, because sometimes they can defeat you, but you just got to push forward and try to find some connection with them on some level so that you can bring them along. And then at some point, maybe they need to go somewhere else because, you know, we disagree. We can agree to disagree. It's all good.
That was brilliant. Like literally brilliant what you just said. And I love how you see being a principal like you would a teacher in the classroom, and, you know, working with that let's say negative person one-on-one, right? Or that person that doesn't like change, to give them that time ahead of time, no different than you would your own classroom, and support all of them emotionally so that when they do come together, that energy isn't happening in the dynamics of the staff meeting, because that can just squash and kill everything. That was brilliant. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Tammy. Anyone else have questions? Mel, did you have one?
I see it. I see it online. So if you feel blocked or under support in your current situation, what advice do you have? So if I were blocked, and I had been blocked before, for example, at Helly Hewson, I had a leader once and I wanted to paint my cabinets. The paint was peeling. They looked disgusting. And he said, you can't paint your cabinets. It's not allowed. So I figured out a way to tack fabric up with hot glue. And I even covered some desks too, because it looked really cool. And I thought, it's temporary. It'll come right off, so you can't yell at me. So I just, like I said, I find a way to comply. And even if it's something little like that, that can put a smile on my face when I walk in the door, some of the other junk that they're saying to me, I can ignore, because at least I have my wall or my little space, or, you know, the place in my room that makes me happy. Or when you shut the door, yes, they might be bothering you while they're there, but ultimately you get a lot more time with those kiddos by yourself, where you can be creative, where you can be the person that you are as a teacher. Yes, they might come in and nitpick you, but if you act as if they're going to say something positive, act as if they're not going to say something negative this time. They'll see you shine this time. Just, you got to put on that show and do your best every single time. And eventually they may see who you are. But if you're accepting that negativity, and if you own that negativity, it's just going to pull you down. And so don't let it. Just put yourself in a happy place. Pretend your best friend just walked in the room, and you're just going to keep on teaching. And I watched my daughter once. She did a lesson through Anson. She was teaching a piggy bank lesson, and there were like 30 women from the leadership group deciding if the school deserved a grant. She is in college and teaching a lesson with first graders, and you would never know that those people were in the room. She completely tuned them out. I was never more proud, and I'm walking by with a group of people on a tour. And so I burst into tears just because I thought, good girl, you were able to tune them out and be you and do what you do without worrying about how somebody else is judging you in that moment. And that ultimately is what crushes our spirit, is when we're feeling judged. And so what I would say is, you are the biggest judge of you. And if you're proud of what you do during the day and you did your best, then leave the rest.
Yeah, absolutely. Had a coach last weekend when we were in Sedona talk about, you know, this is our garden, right? Our bodies, our minds, this is our garden to tend to, and how we nurture that garden is up to us. And things that people try to give us, no matter what it is, if it's shame, if it's guilt, if it's judgment, whatever, they're just setting it outside the door of our garden. It's our choice whether we pick it up or not. Mm-hmm. And so often we don't actually make that choice. We pick it up because they left it at our door and we think we're obligated to. We are not obligated to pick up anyone else's crap.
Nope.
That they've left at our doorstep just because they wanted to. And again, that's them trying to put weeds in our garden, and we are not obligated to pick it up. It's not ours, it's theirs. No. Perception is projection. And so if someone is harshly coming at you in any way, that's their stuff.
Yeah, it is.
And you have to own your part of it, but you need to lead with curiosity in order to uncover that, and really then show up as your best self, like Katie's talking about, as if no one else's judgment matters, because it doesn't.
Yep, it doesn't.
You're the one who matters. And how you show up in the world, right, and taking ownership of that. This is, you know, prime real estate. Don't let anyone else rent space in there without your permission.
Well, and I think when you're trying to please other people and you end up actually diverting from your true self and who you are. And I think sticking to that integrity and knowing what you believe in and who you are, I think that is critical.
Absolutely. Katie, thank you so much for all of your wisdom. I so appreciate it. As we are also today launching our Educator to Edupreneur Masterclass program. I'm super excited, it's live. So we are almost like secretly launching it today. So you guys, as our Magnificent Monday crew, are the first to know that it's launched. We have not done any big advertising or anything like that. I wanted to make sure that you guys had first access to it because we are running a short promotion at 50% off right now. So go to Educator Dynamics and take a look at it. We have 12 micro courses that we've spent 100+ hours creating this course that is all about really helping you shift your mindset from educator to owning that edupreneur title, either within the current system or outside of the system. And we go into how, and we go into where and when, and the business planning steps and the financial steps, and we go through all of the juicy nugget details to where when you finish this course, you actually have all the tools at your fingertips to launch your brilliance into the world, whatever that is, in the current system or outside the system. And I'm just super excited. The team really came together to put this out there in the world and really help educators, especially right now in the world when so much is changing. Now is the time to own your brilliance as an edupreneur and take that leap of faith out into the world. So it's a year-long program, but you get immediate access to all 12 videos. So you can go as fast as you want through those 12, but then you get weekly access to an hour-long Q&A for the ETE crew. And you get access to a private Facebook community that is only for the edupreneurs that are going through that masterclass. And you get access to it for a year. So you can participate in those weekly Q&As as often as you want. But again, you can go through the 12 micro classes as fast as you want. You can go through one a month, then attend all four. It's up to you. I wanted to make it accessible so that everyone can go at their own pace because everyone's got different logistics that you're dealing with. And a lot of people were like, Sandy, you're putting so much pressure on yourself to get all 12 of these micro classes built ahead of time. Why don't you just release them? I was like, yeah, no, I don't. That's not, you guys need access to go at your own pace. As an edupreneur, some of you are going to go super fast and some of you are going to be really methodical, and you may watch all the videos 5 times in order to take away different nuggets. We all have mentors in life that we listen to and learn from. And every time I listen to Katie, and I learn something new from her. No matter if I've heard her speak a million times, I learn something new every time. And it's because we look at things through a new lens every day. The more we learn and grow, the more we're learning through a new lens, which is why I made the program access for 12 months to the weekly Q&As. So once a week, 1 hour Q&As, you get to submit your questions and have the support of the Conscious Edupreneur community in a private Facebook group. So check it out on Educator Dynamics. If you have questions, Melissa and I are available. Definitely schedule a call with either one of us if you have questions about any of it. But I'm super blessed at the way that you guys have all shown up over the last 15 weeks now on these Magnificent Mondays to really be learning and growing with intention and starting your week with intention. There's so much out there that is negative that can push against us that we can fight against and we can try to overcome. And you guys are taking the opposite mentality. You're going, I'm not going to fight against what's going on in the world. I'm going to observe it. I'm going to witness it. I'm going to, understand that it's happening, but I'm going to look at how I show up, and I'm going to do that with intention. And I'm going to take my power back as an educator, and I'm going to amplify my brilliance in the world. And so Katie, I want to hear from you, like what's next for you as you take this Socrates program forward, as you look at not only being a part of this education revolution company, but even just sharing your brilliance in the world as an edupreneur outside of that company. Really, where do you see kind of big picture, even with everything going on with COVID, within the next year? Where do you see you amplifying your brilliance?
Well, I do need to write the story of building excellence and what happened at Bracken and how we built a award-winning, amazing program. And it was such a special gift. I don't think I fully appreciated it as much as when I had it. But it's a story that needs to be told, because we were definitely underdogs, and we definitely showed everybody what we could do. So that I see as something that I need to definitely finish working on.
Absolutely. I would love to read it and I would love to watch it. I would love like if you have video snippets and, you know, getting the old crew to put their insights and impressions in, that would be amazing to really understand the blood, sweat, and tears that goes into living your life on purpose.
Right.
And showing up every morning knowing that you have a community of support is part of living on purpose, is knowing that you're not alone.
It is.
Yeah.
It really is. And honestly, like I had the Las Vegas Rotary Club. They were my cheering section the entire time I was a leader. And when I hear leaders not reaching out to community partners and not working with partners, I think they're nuts, because you don't get a lot of support. And when you have that community group asking you, what do you need? How can we help? And good job. Like they celebrate those successes with you. And, you know, being a leader can be lonely, and they definitely were there with me the whole time. And I still participate in Rotary, and that will be with me for the rest of my life for sure.
Yeah. Once you find that extended family, there's nothing like it. And so make sure that you are all reaching out, whether it continues to be us and the conscious educator community that we're building, or it's another family that you reach a hand out. Because once you reach a hand out and you trust and you find that values alignment, you'll never go back to trying to do things on your own again. You know, Katie never says that her success was her all alone. You know, that team is what really creates that brilliance and the momentum.
Yeah, 100%.
So any other questions for Katie as we're getting close to time? I wanted to be super respectful of everyone's time today. Any other questions?
I just wanted to jump on and just commend you, Katie, for everything that you've done, obviously, in the school district. And one of the things, you guys, that we've talked about that I always like to highlight is the butt pucker moment. So Katie doesn't know about the butt pucker moment, but one of the things that we've talked about throughout these 15 weeks is that in order to create something different, you've got to be willing to get uncomfortable. You've got to be willing to lean in and do something that scares you a little bit, that's unfamiliar. And one of the things that I've seen Katie do in the time that I've had involvement in the school district is nothing that woman did was safe, secure, or familiar. It was not safe, it wasn't familiar, and it wasn't secure, but she did it, right? Like, so queen of butt puckers is Katie Decker, and she created a momentum.
I don't know if she wants to own that title or not.
That's first.
She totally took charge into getting uncomfortable. And so for all of you on this call today, like, think about where in your life or where in your career journey can you stretch yourself a little bit? Because when you stretch yourself that little bit, you are the change that the world needs. You are the change that the kids need. So be willing to get uncomfortable. And I just, again, want to thank you, Katie, for joining us and just doing what you do. You're a very brilliant and amazing leader for not only the kids in Las Vegas, but for the world. So thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. 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 Evelyn, did you have anything you wanted to add? Oh, you're on mute. There you go.
I really have to accept more challenges this coming school year because of this online distant learning. I need to, I already get in touch with my new principal because I was transferred or moved to another one because my item there in Harriet Cream's what do you call this? It's not open. So I was able to go there at Far North, in Lake Mead, Searless, and the principal is seems that the administrators are very supportive, and I already get in touch with her and asking for anything I can make in advance because it's really hard in this age. I am not a techie person. That's why I keep on learning. I keep on, this kind of what do you call this webinar. It feels me like I'm powerful. I can do it because of you guys.
Oh, I love it, Evelyn.
Yeah, I'm taking notes.
And you're doing it. You're doing it, Evelyn. That's so beautiful.
I really like it. So,
yeah, and we love having you. It's so empowering. The more that you take those little leaps of faith, and this weekend I'm a new, almost, we're not married yet, we're still engaged, but a new bonus mom to 5 new kiddos. And this weekend, Kendall got sick right when we were walking out the door to take 5 of the 6 of them out on the lake. And so I took 5 of them on my own, and I was like, oh my God, I'm doing it. Oh my God, I'm doing it. like I birthed one child, he's now 18. He's going to be 19 next month. And so it's a whole new world for me. And so we're all learning and growing in different areas of our lives. And the more you do it, celebrate yourself, create that positive feedback loop. Remember, Evelyn, make sure you have some place where you're writing down how much you rock and how amazing you are, because those small wins along the way add up to be these amazing things when you look back and go, wow, I did that. Everything that Katie has accomplished in her life and everything she has yet to accomplish did not happen in one moment.
No.
yeah.
Years were you at Bracken?
Oh gosh, 18?
18. And again, it takes time. So be patient with yourselves too. It's super important to be patient and just love yourself along the way. Create that positive feedback loop for your brain, because it is so vital, so incredibly vital. So I'd love to start to wrap up and hear everyone's takeaways from today's conversation. So Tammy, I love that. A tree takes many years and seasons to bloom. Absolutely. Everything in the universe happens, and everything in nature grows beautifully. No one forces a flower to grow. You don't yell at a flower. I mean, maybe you do, but it doesn't work.
Gotta give it some vitamins.
Yeah, give it some vitamins and some love. So I want to hear your takeaways from today's conversation. Thank you, Ruman, for being here. Takeaways from today. Ward, do you want to start?
I was totally enthralled. Thank you, Katie, for sharing. It was wonderful to hear your story and what you did over at your school, and really inspiring, and it gives me a lot of energy going to my new school. So I just wanted to say thank you.
Awesome, Ward. Thank you. Anyone else want to type in the chat your takeaways? I see a bunch of you are here as attendees, so go ahead and type in. Tammy, I love it. Excited to reimagine education with all of you amazing change agents and the programs in place to make it happen. Absolutely. We're all in this together. Other takeaways from today? Katie, what are you taking away from this conversation?
Oh, just some more energy into working harder than I did before, and moving forward and just trying to make a difference.
Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful. Ruman says, I'm really proud of people like you. And Evelyn, I really feel empowered. Thank you, Miss Katie.
Thank you.
Oh, beautiful. So here is, Christiana, thank you. Do your best with the tools we have, and God will do the rest. Don't let others bring you down. Absolutely. 100%. 100%. So as we go off into the rest of our week, your nudge of appreciation, you all know how much I appreciate all of you being a part of this amazing Conscious Educator community. as we grow as edupreneurs and really push boundaries to amplify our brilliance in the world. I want you all to reach out to someone that you know that is hiding their light a little bit, maybe a lot of it. I want you to reach out to that person, and it's the first person that just came to your mind. Reach out to that person that you know is hiding their light a little bit, and I want you to invite them into this community. And I want you to welcome them in and hold their hand, you know, metaphorically, through the space of really shining their light. Because that's when we all start to bloom, is when we see that light being shown on us by other people saying, wow, you're really good at that. Wow, that's amazing. Just like when we all learned to walk, our parents didn't push us back down. They celebrated us walking, right? They all said, you got this, good job, you're doing it. That's what this is like right now in the world of education, is we are all learning how to walk again so that we can then run. And that's what the education revolution is globally, that's happening, not only with the company that Katie's working with, but it is happening globally. We are revolutionizing education right now. We are breaking the old system, and it's going to be painful for a while, but that's okay. We're going to fall down. We're going to get back up. We're learning to walk again, and it's okay because we're going to be running pretty soon. So reach out to someone that you know that is dimming their light during this time, and shine a light on how brilliant they are, and invite them into this community to join. Again, these calls are free every Monday, 10 a.m. Join us for Magnificent Mondays to kick off your week. Join the Conscious Educator Facebook circle. Reach out to Melissa or I. Send us an email. Drop your email into the comments, or send us a direct message if you would like us to reach out to you to talk about the details for the Educator to Edupreneur Masterclass. We'd love to have you guys join us. Know that we've got the 50% off only happening for a little while. We haven't set the timeline to it, but it'll probably just be for a couple of weeks. So definitely jump in and join that. These calls will continue. So Magnificent Mondays are not going away. We're going to continue to spotlight different edupreneurs. Next week, we're going to talk about the edupreneur opportunities, both locally and globally. And we are going to then go into leadership EQ and start talking about emotional intelligence. And then we're going to talk about the 6 senses of culture the week after that. So know that we're going to continue rolling and adding value and amplifying the value of you all as educators. So the more people that we get to join us in this community, the stronger we are, and the more that we can impact education and impact more kiddos around the world, because they need us to be our best selves. And that's what this community is about. So Katie, thank you once again so much for joining us. I so appreciate you as a human and for your time. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Welcome.
I wish you all a beautiful, magnificent week, and we will see you next Monday. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.